Welcome to Fandom Night. It is time to start something that we talked about starting all the way back with Reploid Productions. This is finally, we are talking Megaman.
Yeah, that only took us 7 years? 8 years, something like that.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Been a few moons. That's all I know.
All right, so, anyways, Reploid Bill, William Bush.
Sub-level Sario.
Shane McCree, Proto Guy.
Okay, first we see it.
It's old. Let me just start off there. This is one of those old-ass, original Nintendo games that even though it was hard as hell, you still played the crap out of it. And you didn't play it because of the way it looked, like right there, where there's, fire coming up and...
I got to disagree with you. What you're talking about the era of Mario 1. So, truth be told, the reason that the game was even designed was the color scheme. The reason it was picked is that Mega Man was chosen as blue because the Nintendo
had more blue palettes than any other color.
Yeah, so they could get the most detailed sprite imaginable at the time. And for what it is true because he does have a face, he does have a mouth, he does have eyes. The helmet is segmented. It has that thing here and the deal on top. You could tell it's elevated. He has boots. He wears the weird trunks. He is very highly detailed for his time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes. If you're talking he looks good. Now, when you're looking at...
The Robot Masters do too, though.
Yeah.
And the fire down here, the weird lava river.
There's basically only a few...
I'm more talking about right there where everything isn't
where some
quite...
of the fire that's coming up.
Oh, the blinks. But that's a common problem that every single Nintendo game you've ever played has those stupid blinks. Even Ninja Turtles 3 has those stupid blinks.
I'm going to sit here and tell you
too many objects.
This game does actually look good. No joke. I mean, yes, it's original Nintendo, but at the same time, it does have that detailed sprites. Mega Man, the Robot Masters. I can see that he has a mouth and has eyes.
And you could see that I was looking for Rush but couldn't find him, and then said, "Oh yeah, right."
And then the Robot Masters, they all have faces. They're all detailed, and even some of the stages are really detailed. Yeah, like Bill says, you got those blanks.
God damn it.
There's the gates in the background that actually have the broken links and whatnot. Yeah. That's major detail for this time. In fact, years ago when the Sega Genesis was released over here, one of the biggest things that was exciting about the Sega Genesis was panning backgrounds.
Yep, parallax scrolling.
Now, like in this stage, I can tell that's fire because it's still detailed for being an original Nintendo game. But you can tell what everything in the stage is. That's fire shooting out. That's a lava pit down there. Those are little bomb enemies, little fire enemies. That is a conveyor of death.
It's essentially plasma waves because.
And I can tell that was a ladder. I can tell that was like a little.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Fireman, his purpose, the whole reason the area that you're in when you first play the game and you go to Fireman, the whole reason the stage even looks like this is this was a facility designed for garbage removal and shit like that. He handled coal stuff every single one of these robots had an actual purpose. He handled stuff like coal, and he burned garbage and all kinds of stuff that you would have to deal with fire. So the entire plant is designed for garbage removal. That's the reason for all the fire jets and everything everywhere.
Yep.
Well, so graphically, for a Nintendo game, this actually does look good.
But yeah. Graphically, it still looks amazing. Like I said, other than the object limits screwing up, or right there where I'm attempting to shoot the shit out of this thing so I don't have
Hell,
to deal with it when I walk
like
by.
Bill said, games nowadays have that crap still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crap,
yeah.
where textures, where you load up a game and the textures
Don't
follow
load in
suit.
right. Or they put up an invisible wall. Meanwhile, the texture is
Yep.
nowhere on the
Yep.
invisible wall.
So we even have that problem today.
God damn it, Fireman.
And look at Fireman. The flames on top of his head move.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
So that is detailed. So all the characters look great, except for Iceman. He looks derpy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
sadly,
you
it
could tell
kinda
he's wearing
does.
that coat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, out of all these Robot Masters that you guys are looking at right now,
I think the most detailed was Fireman.
yes.
Yeah.
And I did say that Iceman.
Guts would be the next, I think.
I did say Iceman looks a little dumpy, but I think there you go. The dumpiest character of all is Cutman. That is my opinion. He is the lamest of them all.
Cutman is built, I think, almost to the same specs as Megaman. Like when you
Yeah.
look at his body type and everything.
Yeah, and I know what his purpose was. You know, he cut down trees and stuff.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
like deforestation and,
Yes,
and shit like
because-
that.
But when it comes down to it, if you look at all the characters, all the Robot Masters, he is the lamest one. He has the lamest power. He has that one scissor on his head that he throws.
Wait, he has the lamest power? Iceman. What is his purpose? Other than to make you cold.
I had actually questioned what Iceman would have been used for. Like he shoots ice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, see, now you're confused. Fireman will take care of all of your garbage and heating needs.
Gutsman does construction.
Yes.
Electman deals with all of your electrical needs.
Electman was designed because the power grid of Monsteropolis, which is one of the names for the city,
Yep.
was so extreme that
Right.
they were experiencing this form of rolling blackouts.
Okay.
Like it was like the size of like 4 New Yorks or some
Yep.
shit like that. It's supposed to be outrageous.
That's an enormous city.
Yeah, it's supposed to be outrageous.
And
That's why they called it Monsteropolis.
Yeah.
That's a really cool name, by the way.
So the idea behind Electman was he could actually stand inside of the electric grid and redirect power flow evenly and keep the city online. One of the first things, story-wise, most of the time when you see this in mangas or something like that, the first guy that starts the revolt is Electman. He siphons the entire city's power grid into these 6 spots
Okay, now
to give power to the robot masters and take all of the energy needed that would be needed
Yeah,
to fight
yeah.
against a force like this
Yeah.
away from humanity. So
Well-
we had nothing.
Now you were just at the freaking Robot Master choosing screen,
Yeah.
and right now, for the life of me, I can't think of the last one because, like you said, Iceman,
Bomb.
Bomb Man. Thank you.
You have Bomb, who's
Bomb Man was Demolition's
Yep.
robot.
Demolition.
Yes.
So he's
He actually worked hand in hand with Gutsman.
okay.
Yeah.
So
because they were construction.
Gutsman, construction, Bomb
And this is
Man.
actually a lot of storyline we're throwing out here. Are we done with how it looks? Do we agree this
Yes,
game
we've-
looks
we've
great?
already
Yeah,
agreed
yeah,
that it
yeah.
looks
The game
good,
looks
yes.
good. The game looks good. Yeah.
That's why
Okay.
we seamlessly moved into the other one.
So okay, we're actually supposed to be.
On-
Let's cut back real quick.
Okay.
Next, we hear it.
yes.
It has some catchy tunes.
Oh, it was a big deal. The
Okay.
soundtrack on this thing is amazing. Every single one of them has a great soundtrack.
That's what I was about to say. That's why I was asking earlier how long we have to actually do this, because one of the things that I have to bring up is all of the Nintendo bands. Now, I brought this up in Castlevania, how you always have a Castlevania soundtrack, you know, a Mario, a Mega Man, stuff like that. Mega Man has gone above and beyond so ridiculously that quite literally there's a dude who calls himself Mega Ran to do all of his Nintendo raps. There's a group known as the Megas. The Megas will actually make songs.
Oh, I love the Megas.
They make songs using essentially the soundtrack from the actual boss area
I've noticed
to
that
describe the bosses.
I've noticed that the Megas have fallen into a weird like the Megas have kind of accidentally created a divide in the music, just like years ago when like punk got real big.
Yeah.
There's an almost more punk sounding the Proto Men Like, they
Yes.
sound a lot less professional. Like, the Megas sound very professional. Like they're very studio driven. They take a long time to produce an album. Where the Proto Men, they're just kind of out there, and they're not doing songs that are based on,
No,
what we've already
okay.
heard. They're just making storyline
Yes,
songs
the
that are their own
Proto-Men-
songs.
Okay, here's where that comes into play. What the Megas do is the Megas will actually take the song that's already we're in Cutman stage, right? They'll take the music from Cutman stage, essentially use it to build like their own backstory of Cutsman, why he's a robot master, why he's doing what he's doing, all that happy crap. Whereas when it comes down to the Proto Men, they have 4 albums, but only 2 of them I count, because one of them is covers of songs that they actually enjoyed. The other was they teamed up with a bunch of the different Nintendo bands and performed a live concert right around the time when it was one of what was it? It was something about Queen, and I think it was their one of the anniversaries for Queen. So like a bunch of the dudes got together and sang like Bohemian Rhapsody and stuff like that. But they have 2 albums. The first one is Act 1. Act 1 covers essentially from the point when Dr. Albert Light, who's actually based off of or no, it's not Albert Light, it's Thomas Light, because he's based off. I know you're looking at me weird. Light is actually based off of Thomas Edison. That's why he's got the beard and looks the way he does.
Okay.
You have Albert Wiley as the villain because he's based off of, guess who? Albert Einstein.
Which is
Probably
why he's the
because-
villain.
Yeah, that's why he's
Because
the
they
villain.
view Albert Einstein as kind of a villain.
I mean, when you drop 2 nukes on a country, I mean, villain status.
I get you.
Kind of like how Hitler is, villain status for a lot of people, unless you're a retarded German person or one of these moronic neo-Nazis. But regardless,
But
when it comes down to, I know, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off
No,
again,
you're fine.
but when it comes down to the Proto Men, the first album is literally from the start of this, when Light ends up building your favorite character.
Proto Man.
There's just something I don't know how to explain it. It's very much, it's just like the punk divide. There's something that doesn't reference
Forgot
with
about
me
that. You can still
the same way that the Megas do. It just
Yeah.
doesn't.
Well, when I feel
The Megas give me a power of nostalgia while I still relate to what they're doing.
Yes.
It's catchy and it's fun. It brings me back to the memories that I had
Mm-hmm.
while encompassing new memories. The Proto Men really just have a name that references Megaman. Truth be told, like you said, they're already at a point now where they're just basically their own band. They've almost gone away from what I thought they were another Mega Man band tribute, but really they're just kind of like they just do their own thing now, which there's
Well,
nothing
they're
necessarily
also
wrong with that.
I was about to say, it's because their genre is actually rock opera. So what they did is they used Mega Man to create a rock opera to try to help give people like more of the backstory. Like the Act 2, The Father of Death, actually discusses how it is that Light and Wily became friends, and they built Monsteropolis of their own 2 hands by building the different machines. And
Yeah.
Wily always wanted them to be like more of a militarized zone, whereas Light just wanted free for everybody.
I just don't
And
have.
somehow a
I
woman
just don't
comes
have
between
it.
them.
It's
and
just
yeah.
not me.
No,
it's
I
it's
know.
not me. I don't. There's something about them that it's just like listening to hard punk music. Hard punk music. That's simply not me. And I'm not going to say that. But I'm also not. I'm not commercialized. I'm not. If it played on the radio, then I love it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
there's something about like extreme death metal where all it is a guy screaming. That doesn't do it for me. And there's something about being so unprofessional that your music literally, it sounds grainy and it doesn't sound like it was recorded well. It sounds like the stuff I did back when I worked in a garage. Like there's something about that level of attention to your product that it doesn't do it for me. Like with us, we've slowly but surely always moved in the direction of make the show better. Like, we have good sound equipment now. We've bought the microphones. We've gone through phases where we've had to find ways to do things, but we've come a long way. Long way from where we are.
I know we have, because we had to have that discussion when somebody was like, why the fuck did you buy a soundboard? And I literally was like, here's our first ever episode. Here's our first ever episode with an actual soundboard and actual mics. Here's when we had to go back to cell phones. Here's how it's going to sound now.
You got to constantly, if you're going to do something, you owe it to your audience to get better and better and better and better and better.
You're just enjoying the fact that I'm failing at Megaman right now.
When you do something like with the Proto Men, it just doesn't do it for me, because they seem unprofessional and they seem fine with it. And there's something very punk about that, but I'm not punk. And I'm certainly not new age punk.
Yeah.
Now,
but the music,
I did the fuck up there.
The music is brilliant for these games.
Yes.
And the music idea is presented in the first game, because music is just as much a character as anything else in the game.
Yep.
He is Rockman.
Yep.
His sister is Roll.
One of his greatest enemies and kind of allies is bass.
There is
and treble.
Yeah, there's
on.
bass and treble. There's
My favorite
Proto Man is actually named Blues.
Yep.
Yep.
If
There's a bird named Beat.
Yep.
Rush is an actual band.
Yes, Rush is a tribute to Rush. The whole thing is music literate.
And
except for Eddie, but
when I look at the
I mean, kind of yes, but at the same time, his function.
When I look at music, like Bill said, this has got a really good soundtrack. I've listened to the Megas, and I love the Megas. And I feel kind of bad, because if you haven't already noticed, my name is Proto Guy. I took it from my favorite character in Mega Man, which is Proto Man. I didn't know who the Proto Men were. I never even heard of them.
Like I said, they're not bad, but again, the problem comes down to a matter of they are very rock opera. So you literally have to be paying attention to catch the story.
I've
had to listen to both their albums in full a couple of times in order to understand what's going on.
So
like I said, Death of the Father, which is their second act, it's quite literally them being like, this is why Wily and Light hate each other. Wily sent Dr. Light to prison because he framed him for killing this girl who was supposed to be Light's wife and love interest. So when he gets out, he creates Proto Man, and now we go to our first album known as Act 1. And I'll kind of give it to Bill. Yes,
they're really stretching
quality
on that story there.
Yeah, I know.
That does not sound like the events that I believe took place at all.
Yeah, no, like I said, there's a lot of shit in between there, but yeah, that's quite literally what their version of it is.
If you're asking me,
extremely spark noted, I suppose.
If you're asking me, does this music hold up today?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, easily.
Hands down, yes.
Yes.
There's no question. I would put it to every single Mega Man game released that the albums, quote unquote, still stand up today.
Yes.
The only spot that I'm gonna have to differ with you is 9 and 10, but that's because I don't really remember the music because that was many moons ago. But then again, so was this, and as soon as I turned it on, I knew the music.
I didn't spend a lot of time with 9 and 10, but from what I remember, I was rocking out while I was playing it.
Yeah. But like I said, that's my only thing is I don't remember it. But seeing as how I've been the one getting the game footage other than part 2, so you're going to see me fucking up a lot in these games, let me tell you. But, yeah. That's the only downfalls when it gets to 9 and 10.
So,
but again, not my fault.
Storyline.
This is where you go into a lot of... here's the story is
Fan
this simple.
theory.
The story is incredibly simple. It was a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Dr. Light created 6 robot masters, and he created a lab assistant robot. Wily, who was a D-bag, came in and stole those 6 robots, reprogrammed them for war purposes, and assaulted the city, leaving Mega Man because he saw Mega Man, who at the time was, of course, Rockman, he left him because he didn't need a lab assistant. He needed a warrior, and that's not what Rockman was. Rockman was then repurposed of his own will. He wanted it. He wanted to be repurposed to go after, to retrieve those bots. But when he went to retrieve them, he found that they were no longer the bots that he knew. They were no longer the people he'd quote-unquote grown up with, if you get my meaning.
Yeah.
They were now war machines, and there was no way around it. They were war machines. So when he walks in the room and he tries to reason with them, they've got nothing to say to him. He has to put them down. And he was given 2 systems. One, the Buster Cannon, which is, from what I understand in the story, the most sophisticated, powerful, portable weapon ever devised. Like, it is a solid ball of, like, condensed plasma that explodes on contact, causing extreme damage. Like most of these enemies that you see him kill, you don't think nothing of it because you're playing the game and you're just playing the game. But like those bucktooth things at the start that you kill in one tiny plasma ball, what those things are, they're little helicopter drones built for the purpose of crashing into buildings and destroying them. They crash down on top of buildings and break up debris and stuff. They help things like Gutsman when he's tearing buildings down. They create rubble. That thing would be built more solid than like a Caterpillar tractor, because you're also thinking the new age, the today. Like you're thinking past today's technology. And one bullet from that little gun is like bam, and he disintegrates the thing. It blows up everywhere. There's nothing left of it. So if you take that weapon and then you give him an adaptation system, which the best way I can describe it is it's like what you see in Star Trek, he's able to copy energies that he's seen, that his brain has been able to analyze. So once he's combated something like a giant electrical stream and things like that, he can then recreate that power.
Upon taking a chip out of the Robot Master's
I've never
processor?
no, because but in the game you blow them to pieces.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee that a chip would survive. So I think his analytical brain just simply takes the data that it's given as he's fighting.
The only reason I say a chip is because, like I said, and you could see it after I ended up finally killing Cutman.
That weird thing falls down. And I've often wondered what that is too. I've often thought it was like maybe like their robot cores, because he said he was retrieving. His whole mission is to retrieve the robots, not to kill them, retrieve them.
And that was bullshit.
So I've always thought that was like he blows them apart and takes their core processors or something so that he can save who they are. And in a lot of the mangas, like the Mega Mix mangas in Japan, after he destroys Cutman and whatnot, they take the processors and put them back in a different body, like a recopy of the Cutman body, and then he actually has help, like Cutman and the original robots help him throughout the other games in the mangas.
Which would kind of make sense. I mean, especially seeing as how in the later games they start getting a little bit more ridiculous. But
regardless of how that works, that's really what the story is Wily stole 6 robots. This guy was repurposed to go get them.
And each robot master, like we were saying before, served an actual purpose in society.
Yeah.
Gutsman was construction.
Bomb Man was demolition. Cutman dealt with deforestation.
He was like trimming, deforestation, and he was also in charge of doing things like around the city, like trees that were growing in the city. He would be able to throw that thing and curve around them and cause perfect structured trees that aren't like growing into buildings and crap.
Fireman took care of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
trash and debris.
Yeah, and supposedly he also had something to do with the city. Like even when it snows, I guess the city does not actually just basically get covered in snow. He's also used for other purposes where like he can redirect all that heat in that building, and he can send it like under the streets, and it is so like they don't have to worry about like icy roads and crap like that, because he'll plug his arms into the side of the road and heat the strip so that then the roads are clear.
Yep.
Okay. Iceman was the only one that we looked at, and we were like,
The only thing that I can honestly assume from him, after re-going back through everything, was that technically speaking, both fire and ice could be used for technically climate control. They can make sure that if it's winter, it snows. If it's summer, it's hot.
I'd hate to think of
somehow
him
in
as
the
an
middle-
air conditioner robot, to be fair, though.
No, I know, but
He has to have a purpose. I just can't remember what or
The only-
conceive of what.
the only other thing I could think of would be like refrigeration. Well, yes, technically refrigeration, but again, like it would be the that's Electman, bro. He's kind of a dick.
Oh, that face you just made, dude! Electman will end you.
he got
He
us.
has in all the mangas, in the game, everything I've seen, Electman is kind of voted as the strongest of the first robots
Yeah.
because he literally has the power of the entire city's power grid at his disposal. When you walk in that room, you are in combat with the entire city's power supply.
Yeah, you're kind of boned. Like, the only other person who's tougher than him is Gutsman, but he's not so much stronger because he can't really concentrate his attack. Literally, all Gutsman does is hits the ground, grabs up a boulder, and chucks it at your face. If you can dodge it, you're fine. This is literally pure electricity. See what I mean? He fired from the ground and still hit me.
The idea behind the scissors defeating him is that when you
He has wires, you cut the wires.
No, storyline wise, from what I've seen in the mangas,
Uh-huh.
when he took that and formed the scissors in his hand, he throws it, and because of the composition, the metal as it hits the electricity, it collects a lot of that electricity as it goes through it, and then cuts him. So you're causing damage, but you're also changing the power of his attack. Like, a lot less energy is coming at you because you're dissipating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But
And then you would think that fire kills ice. No, it's the other way around.
I have no clue what Iceman, his real purpose, I have no clue what it would be. Like, it makes no sense to me at all what his purpose
why
would have
don't
been.
we just go
Yeah.
ahead and just say he's an air-conditioned bot?
Man, that's so
Because
sad.
it's kind of douchey, but...
Well, I mean, I just don't, because all the others serve a legitimate purpose in a gigantic city,
Yeah.
and then you have Iceman, which makes things cold.
It's douchey, but really, if we don't know, we have to speculate.
Again, like I said, a good portion of Mega Man is fan theory. Which
Yes.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah, when we get into the storyline part, we are talking a lot of fan theory. He's right.
Yes.
So let me ask you this.
Like how Wily and Light were actually bestest of friends. But
Well, they were
somehow
co-workers. You know
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah. Guaranteed they used to be... God damn it, how did I not make that...
I think even the Nintendo games reference that they built the first 6 bots together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. So because they built them together, all of a sudden Wily just needed to steal them, and it's like...
But from what I've been able to gather, I don't think he was necessarily militaristic.
You know,
I think that this happens a lot in society where you'll praise one guy over the other when the other guy probably deserves more respect, like Nikolai Tesla.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
probably deserves a lot more respect than what Edison was being given, but Edison had the money, Edison had the fame, Edison had the face, and Edison had the personality, and
He also had the ability to spin the bullshit.
yeah, he also had the ability to spin the bullshit, so he's the one that is looked at with all this wonder, where
He's the
Nikolai
father of
Tesla,
electricity, and yeah.
Nikolai Tesla, had he been given the shot that he should have been given, I've read theses that say we'd probably be 200 years above where we are now.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of things that we'd be ahead
And
of
if
technologically.
Light, if
things
you
hadn't
look
gone
at
the way.
if you look at the possibility that Light was given all the respect and he was just trying to get his and he couldn't get nothing but a excuse me, who are you? And he's like, I was instrumental in the construction of the motorisms of the robots. They're like, yeah, whatever. Stand back there. We're talking to this guy right now.
Yeah.
Like, after a while, he's like, I'll show him.
Kind of like, who is it? It's, the one dude to Jobs.
I'm also
And it's
kind of
sad 'cause
thinking,
I actually know the guy's name. No, not Bill Gates.
sorry.
The other guy that used to be friends with Steve Jobs.
I'm also kind of thinking in
and
terms
it's
of
sad because I know the motherfucker's
when you
name.
reference comic books, which this is probably where some of the storyline ideas were coming from.
Yeah.
You look at things like Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom was not a bad guy. He was the underappreciated scientist that got shit on so much that finally he just cracked.
He said, fuck this, and bad shit happened. Speaking of bad shit, we're going to watch this for another 2 hours.
Now this, like I said, storyline, it's a little tough, but it is simple. We could do an entire video going over all these different fan theories and what the robots were and everything else, but you can break Mega Man down, but it's a lot of theory. A lot of theory.
Yep.
So now we are actually...
We're
Somehow-
on to I need to kill myself.
How did we skip gameplay? You took us right into story. We're on gameplay.
Oh, yeah, shit, you're right.
My bad.
Yeah, that is kind of Shane's fault.
So anyways, gameplay, this is real simple. You walk from left to right,
And you jump and shoot.
or you walk from bottom to top, and you jump and you shoot. Yeah. And every single enemy in the game is weak to something.
Yep.
Now, when you defeated Elect Man with Cut Man so easily,
Yeah.
I actually thought Bomb Man would be the one because cutting the fuse.
No. Again, what Bill said is kind of true. It comes down to a matter
Fire screws up Bomb Man, if I remember right.
Yes.
Because it's like you blow the bomb up before he can even throw it.
Yes. Which is why, like I said, I always assumed it was a matter of because he actually has electrical cords on him, you're cutting the cords, he doesn't have as much energy. Gutsman
Which
gets
that
killed
would be
by the
feasible.
bombs.
That would be feasible also. And like we are getting into fan theories, he's right. Like his theory is just as adamant as mine that if you cut the wires feeding him energy, he has less energy.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have to take out ice because ice is killed by electricity because, well, electricity and water. I mean, do you ever take a bath? You ever take a bath with your toaster?
I did it once.
Keep it
and,
plugged in. You know, and I'm just saying.
I did it once, and I had some shocking results.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah, I'm loving that look. But well, what was I saying? Yeah, no. So then,
What beats Cut Man?
what beats Cutman? Technically Guts.
Oh yeah, those
If-
two
if you
bricks
throw
in
a
the
rock
room.
at his face, yes.
If you grab that brick in the room and just throw it at him, he'll die in like one or two bricks. He's like, "Oh
Yes.
my god."
No, he can't
was
cut
not.
bricks.
He's not that durable.
Huh?
Well, his blade can't cut a brick.
I want to say it's
No.
the idea. The entire game runs on another premise: rock, paper, scissors, and as
Yep.
its own little gimmick, rock beat
Beats
scissors.
I'm not hearing you clapping, Shane. Let's come on. Yeah, I
No,
know.
I'm
the,
sorry,
gi-
that
the
guy-
giant
that guy
bouncing
just took-
robot.
And the
Yeah, I
idea
know
of
he's an
scissors
ass.
beats paper actually comes down on Electman because paper. The idea here is that this is the idea of energy.
Yeah.
Like here, I'll show it to you. This is my thesis, and you're like, shh.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense.
By the way, I'm being kind to Iceman. There's a trick I can use later on, which unfortunately somehow the footage didn't.
And
get
what he just
saved.
did is also confusing too. I've never understood this. Iceman dies to the electricity, and I don't know what his fucking purpose is. I don't know what he does, and I don't know why he's. I get it, water, whatever, but I don't understand why he's weak to the lightning. Like I don't know. I don't know this for sure, but can you electrify ice?
Yes.
Because electricity.
The way that electricity works.
I know
is-
that 100% water, 100% real water, does not conduct electricity. I know
Yes.
that.
Yes, you have to have impurities in the water in order to do it. That's why if you're using distilled water, because there's no imperfections inside the water, you technically cannot electrocute yourself, but considering the fact that he is a robot, needs the water to actually conduct the ice, metal plus water plus electricity, again, toaster
But I
in a
still have no
bathtub.
idea what he's used for.
We still haven't figured that one out. But again, Electman is powerful because there's a glitch in the game. You fire, right? You shoot your electricity, start hitting start. Literally go to the weapon screen and keep letting it load and unload. If you do it correctly with the correct distance, you can take out anything in one hit. Doesn't matter if you're fighting Gutsman and Gutsman isn't weak against electricity. Do that trick, done. That's how you beat the Yellow Devil. I don't like doing it, but it's how you're supposed to beat the Yellow Devil. Oh, by the way. Whip! I did it too high. Now I can't jump up there. It saddened me.
Yeah, whatever. I did. I don't. We have gone through all the concepts now. It plays magnificently. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no way to really describe it. It plays magnificently. The control is spot on perfect for what you need to do.
It's just frustrating as hell.
Yes, it is. It is very difficult.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it plays magnificently. Like there's no other way to put it. It is magnificent. It is very responsive. It has a nice system where you pick the bosses that you feel comfortable fighting when you feel comfortable fighting them. The rock, paper, scissors makes it easier. Once you've beat one boss, you're already on your way. All you got to do is jump through now.
Yep, that's literally all it takes.
So,
I believe we're at the rating.
we are set to
Yes.
rate.
So Seth is gonna go first.
Okay. This is simple. 4.5.
Bill.
I'm at like a 3.8. I think the first game is a little... For me, the first game seems to be one of the hardest. Like,
Yeah.
it's irritatingly difficult. So that's always kind of put me off. I don't mind it. I've beat it multiple times. But out of all of them, out of like the original 1 through 6, this is the one I think is the hardest to beat. And some people might think that since a lot of people think the games got easier as time went, and that's kind of a flaw. I think that it not necessarily got easier. I think we got used to it.
Yeah.
Because Mega Man doesn't change from one game to the next. It was solid the day it was created.
Kind of yes and kind of no. The only thing that really changes is like extra add-on gimmicks. Like starting in 3, I think you got the charge shot and the slide. I
No,
think.
not the charge shot. I think it was... Part 2 gives you the items. Part 3 gives you the dogs. Part 4 gives you the charge shot.
Okay. And then 5 would be the slide then, I think.
No, I think the slide came at the same time as the dog. I think you could slide in 3. Or was it 4 when they added the charge shot?
I think it was 4 that they added the charge shot. Regardless, like I said.
And then 6 has armors.
Yeah. Well,
Which
6
then
has
they use
armors.
that gimmick to move into Mega Man X.
Well, not only did they use it to move into X, but they expanded on it a little bit in 7. And then they moved into 8, and they kind of took it away. And then you get to 9 and 10, and it literally goes back to Mega Man 2, where all you can do is jump and shoot. No charge, no slide, no nothing.
I really think you just got used to it, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it got any easier. I really don't. Because
Yeah.
they even with a rush dog that allows you to skip
Fly
across a
past,
lava
yeah.
pit, you'd still be surprised how many times you die just doing simple shit.
Yeah.
So I really think I'm at like 3.8.
Okay. And I got lucky as shit there.
I'm gonna go with a 4.0.
You already rated, asshat.
No, I did.
I had 3 numbers here. You, me, and Bill.
I never rated.
Yeah, I don't remember him rating. I remember you and me.
Okay, so then hold on.
Yeah, I don't know where you got your
3.8.
third number at. Maybe you rated it twice because you like it so much.
No, I think I think I just wrote down Bill's twice. That's all it was. Anyway.
Yeah, I give it a 4.
Okay, so then a 4. And then we divide that by the 3. This is a 4.1. Which, for Mega Man 1, yes, that's very deserving.
Yeah, that's not bad. Hey guys, did you like that podcast? If so, head on over to fandomnight.com where you can check out all of our videos, our other members' videos, and subscribe to the RSS feed to get constant podcasts every other day. Later on.